Good morning. Good morning. Am I on this thing? I don't think so. The reverberation comes. Good morning and welcome to Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church in person and online worship. Whether today is your first time here or you've been coming for years, we are so glad that you're with us. My name is Barbara Freeman, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm a member of the Finance Committee and a much-loved spiritual enrichment group. We are a growing community that transforms lives through the power of love. Our mission calls us to celebrate diversity, encourage spiritual growth, and promote social responsibility as we travel on, and care for the earth. Welcome also to those at home who are joining us on Zoom. If you're attending for the first time, please go to our website and fill out the welcome card so we can know more about you. I do have one announcement, a grand finale report on the fair. We ended up someplace north of $7,800. Which is wonderfully beyond our expectations and maybe even our hopes. But I want to just point out how many people's talent and work and gifts of materials went into making that final number. So that's not something you find anyplace else in the commercial world, and we are so grateful. Now we invite you all to take this opportunity to silence your cell phones so we can be fully present to one another. After the service, please grab a cup of coffee in the foyer and stay for conversation. We encourage you to find someone you've never met before and introduce yourself. Those on Zoom may stay on and connect with one another. And now, let us center our hearts and minds with the ringing of the chimes.
Good morning. Not quite as tall as Barbara. Good morning, Allen Avenue UU Church. It's so good to see each and every one of you and those of you on Zoom as well. I am Reverend Tara, and my pronouns are she, her, and they, them. And I am the transitional minister here at A2U2. It is good to be together. And as you settle in this morning to our time together, I invite you to hear and take in these words of invocation. Once again, the final month of the year begins. Once again, the days grow shorter and the nights grow longer. The light lessens and the dark increases, luring trees to slow their sap and animals to sleep in warm dens. This season of growing darkness beckons us, too. The time for yard work is past now. Autumn's harvests have been gathered in. Spring bulbs hopefully already planted. It's time to stop, to pause, to settle in. The season of extra blankets and warm beverages, the time for all things cozy, has begun. Spirit of life, coax our minds and spirits away from the glare of the screens, the holiday pressure, the schedules overflowing, and toward all that brings rest, comfort, healing. Create within us and our lives the space to accept the gifts that darkness has to offer. Friends, come. Let us worship together. May we light our chalice this morning to remind us of the power and the beauty and the balance of contrast. It is darkness that can make the flame of a single candle so powerful, and light that deepens those shadows in turn. A chalice flame which we will light is the meeting point, the union of the refuge, safety, and incredible beauty of darkness and the warmth, the assurance, and the joy of light. May this act of lighting our chalice this morning remind us that we are stronger together. In all the complexities and the disagreements of relationship, because we are different and because we are one. And this morning I'll light a second candle, a candle of community, in recognition today of our own Portland neighbors who are without a warm and safe place to sleep as the cold days and nights arrive. May we be grateful for what we have, and may we be committed to sharing that we might all be nourished and rest well. A lot of candles this morning. And finally, our Advent wreath. Today marks the third Sunday in the liturgical season of Advent. Each Sunday until Christmas, we light the candles on our Advent wreath, which symbolize hope, peace, joy, and love. So far, we've lit the candles of hope and the candle of peace. And this morning, we light the rose-colored candle, the candle of joy. May we become a people of contagious joy. And dripping wax. Our opening hymn this morning is Winds Be Still, which is written by our own Rick Kimball. It's number 83 in the gray hymnal, and the words will also appear on the screen. Dale will play it through once, and then we'll rise in body or in spirit and join our voices as one. developers for this story. So if anyone is willing, think about it now when I may call on you. Eventually, there are props. So the story I have to share with you today is written by a religious educator named Mary Ann Moore. I'll put this down. Once upon a time, God said, "I'm bored because I don't have anything to do. I want to play with my friends." "Good idea," said God's friends. "What shall we play?" God thought for a minute and said, "I know. Let's play hide and seek." The friends all said, "Yes, I love that game," and they closed their eyes tight immediately and started to count to 10. When they opened their eyes, God was gone. So they went off to look for God. One of God's friends had decided to look for God in the night. So I need a volunteer. Who will be one of God's friends? Oh, perfect. They watched the sun go down, and they heard the day noises stop, and they saw the lights in the houses go out, and as it got darker and the peaceful night wrapped itself around them, they listened very hard. And then they realized there was something special and amazing and wonderful about it. And when it was so still that they could see and hear nothing at all, they suddenly jumped up and ran home, calling out, "I found God. I found God. God is dark and peaceful. I found God in the night." You're good. I need another person, another friend. Because another friend was looking on the earth. Come on, somebody, help me out here. Someone was looking for God on the earth and felt the mystery of the grass growing toward the sun. They stayed and they watched the night come. And then they felt the mystery of the darkness and the mystery of the stars. They thought to themselves, "These mysteries are special and amazing and wonderful," but when they finally came back to home base, they said, "I found wonderful mysteries, but I'm not really sure this whole God thing is going to work for me." Thank you. And then there was a third friend. A third friend decided to look for God where people were. They joined a group of people going into a store to buy food. They followed them back out onto the street when someone came up to them and said, "Please, I'm very hungry. Can you spare some food?" The people readily agreed, and as this friend watched them share, they realized there was something special and amazing and wonderful about those people. Running back to home base, they called out, "I found God. God is love and sharing. I found God in people who care for others." And finally, some more of God's friends decided to look for her together. After a time, they were sort of going sardine style. After a time, they came to a house and decided to look for God in the house. So I'm going to need another friend for this. Anybody? 3 friends. Perfect. All 3 friends. So they're looking for God in the house. and they're looking. And then they saw a room, and they looked for God in the room, and in the room they saw a mirror. In the room they saw a mirror, and they looked for God in the mirror. As they looked into the mirror, they realized there was something special and amazing and wonderful being reflected in it. Being reflected in it. And so they turned around and they ran home, yelling, "We found God! We found God in us." And then God appeared, as she does, and said, "I had so much fun." Weren't those good hiding places? Some of you found me, others were highly skeptical, and some of you are still looking. And that's okay, because the point is just to play the game. And so they all called out, "Ollie, Ollie, oxen free," and the game started again. The end.
In a few moments, some of us will leave the sanctuary to enjoy religious education programming. But first, I invite our lamplighter to join me in the pulpit. A lamplighter is entrusted to transfer the light of the sanctuary chalice to the lamp and then go forth to RE spaces where they will light the chalices there. Lex will now light the lamp. I invite those going to RE to follow the lamplighter as we carry the flame, expanding our sacred space.
Please join me in a responsive reading. I'll begin, and hopefully the microphone will find me. And I'll invite you to respond by reading in unison the words on the screen. Because we remember that seeds begin in the dark earth, we are grateful for the dark and the deep.
For the darkness of waiting, of not knowing what is to come. Can you go back?
For the darkness of staying silent.
For the darkness.
For the terror of having nothing to say. And for the greater terror of needing to say nothing.
For the darkness of loving, in which it is safe to surrender, to let go of our self-protection, and stop holding back our desire.
For the darkness of choosing, when we have the moment to speak and act and change, and we cannot know what we have set in motion, but we still have to take the risk.
For the darkness of hoping in a world which longs for love, for the wrestling and the laboring of all creation, for wholeness and justice and freedom.
we seek to live in the creative tension between knowing and not knowing, accepting and resisting, searching and finding.
Balancing the light and the dark.
We're a freely gathered, open and welcoming faith community supported by your contributions. Each week, 1/3 of our offering is given away to a nonprofit organization whose mission aligns with our Unitarian Universalist principles. This month's Share the Plate recipient, however, is a little different. In December, we share our offering with the A2U2 Ministers Discretionary Fund, which provides emergency financial assistance for church members and friends. You can learn more in your order of service, e-news, or by asking Reverend Tara. Donations can be made now as the basket is passed through the donate button on your website, a2u2.org, or if you're a member, on Breeze. If giving through Breeze, please note if the donation is your pledge or a gift to our Share the Plate. You may also mail a check directly to our church. And if you're visiting us for the first time this morning, please know that your presence is your gift to us. At this time, the offering will be collected and gratefully received.
In the beginning, there was darkness, a blackness that covered all, compromising the building blocks of creation. The nutrients and nurturing needed to birth the world. This dark womb pushed out the light that released the heavens and cradled the planets and stars adorning the universe. It formed the darkened earth from which all life emerged and to which all life returns when our bodies take their final breath. It is the same darkness that shelters us from an unrelenting sun, that calls animals to a safe hibernation, that protects the germination of seed and bulb. Darkness signals an end to the hectic chaos of our days and lulls us to sleep and revitalization so that we can face the next challenge. There is peace in darkness and mystery and the unknown. And if we can rest in its grace, cease fighting to control it, we just might see the face of God. In the words of Reverend Dr. Kenneth Samuel, darkness suffers from bad PR. Darkness suffers from bad PR. But all of us, he writes, all of us who yearn for brighter days could benefit from a more cognizant appreciation of how life is sustained and renewed and fortified in the dark. This past week, a colleague of mine posted in a group of ministers I'm part of, where we share ideas and resources for worship. She asked if anybody knew of a translation of the 4th verse of the first chapter of the book of Genesis that didn't talk about light as good and dark as bad. Specific request. Check the Jewish Study Bible, someone replied. I hopped up from my desk just down the hall here because I have that Bible, and I pulled mine off the shelf. Nope. Same words, darn. Now, I can get really into this kind of thing if you don't know that about me already. So I did a deep dive on the internet. Still, no such luck. Nearly every translation of this ancient creation story reads something like, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good and separated light from dark. The story continues. God called the light day and the darkness night. And there was evening and there was morning, the first day. Now, it sucks when this kind of reading doesn't say what you want it to, especially when it totally ruins your sermon. So there we were, a bunch of nerds on the internet, getting into a deep conversation about dark and light, and how we try to fit Scripture into what we wish it would say so we could use it to make our point. Surprise, surprise, we came up confused and without answers, or a better translation, until I bumped into some words by the fantastic Black biblical scholar, Reverend Will Gaffney. And if y'all are wondering why it takes me so long to write sermons, this is why. It's those rabbit holes. So Reverend Gaffney's work helped me to realize that the context in which the writers of Scripture composed these metaphors of dark and light is a very different context from which they are read today. It's not the words or the metaphors or the imagery itself themselves, but their context that causes us trouble. Kristen Harper, the author of our reading this morning, explains that in Old English, the word dayork meant without light, obscure, gloomy, or sad, cheerless, sinister, wicked. And it still has that tone, doesn't it? You see, I'm convinced that mainstream American culture is afraid of the dark. We live in a time of racial disparity in public safety due to what we now understand as implicit bias. Many of us are addicted to the lights and the noises of our technology and have become disconnected to and uncomfortable with the rhythms of the natural world, contributing to its degradation and, in turn, our changing climate. We live and move and breathe, all of us, within a culture of white superiority that devalues Black bodies and Black lives. This is the context to which Gaffney refers. We are hearing, she explains, the ancient use of metaphors for light and dark and shadow, but we are hearing them in a world that is deep in white supremacy. And that context changes the way those words are received and understood, and how they contribute to the perpetuation of institutionalized racism. Language, as all of us know, situated within the particularities of context, language has power. And in lifting up the gifts of lightness, of whiteness, of sunshine and warmth, we have, both consciously and unconsciously, created the conditions for devaluing and disempowering darkness and blackness. And this hurts all of us, right? It hurts people of color, and it hurts white people. It hurts winter lovers and night owls, early risers and sun worshipers alike. Those with seasonal depression, and those who sink into the dark of winter with utmost contentment. This narrative of good and bad hurts all of us. Because the truth is, we need both. We need all of it. We need the light, we need the dark, and we need all of the in-between, the full spectrum, each shade of sky, of skin, each mood, each cycle, for they all carry within them sacred worth. And only together may we as a people, we as a planet, be made whole. Harper reflects that we are taught to fear the dark, that all the monsters and demons come out in the dark. But those who hurt others under the guise of battling monsters do so as much in the daylight as in the night. The light, she writes, does not hide war, famine, abuse, greed, torture, or any other kind of violence. Light does not hide our sadness or depression, our loneliness or our despair. And all of this doesn't mean that we must eliminate every dark light image and expression from our shared language. Of course not, because it's always more complicated than that, right? It's always more complicated than that. It's not about banning words. It's never about banning words. Dark light imagery can be powerful and transformative, and we don't need to ban it. We do, however, need to notice it and understand it and its history and its impact. And if what we notice doesn't sit right, if it's out of alignment with who we are and how we want to be and the world we want to create, if it's out of alignment, then our faith calls us to just rethink, to explore context, and perhaps to choose a new way or a new word or to complicate things a little bit. We need light. And we need darkness. Not only because without the other, neither exists, but because within each, we encounter the divine. Like a child in a game of hide and seek who found God in the dark, we too encounter the holy, great mystery, love beyond belief, in the darkness, in blackness, in the rich brown earth. So let's go back to that Jewish creation story, shall we? Because perhaps we don't actually need a new translation, just awareness and perhaps an open heart. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good and separated the light from darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness she called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. The first day. Divine is the darkness, the evening, the night. Divine is the womb, the earth, the shadows. Divine is the deep, the quiet, the pause. Divine is creating, resting, healing, is black and brown in a sea of light. Divine is life, sustained and renewed and fortified in the dark. May we each and all rest in this holy gift. May it be so. Amen. And in fitting with our theme, I invite you to join me in our closing hymn, Dark of Winter, number 55 in your gray hymnal, or probably appearing on the screen. Dale will play through once. We love you, John. Dale will play through once, and then you may rise in body or in spirit and join in song. There is peace in darkness and mystery and the unknown. And if we can rest in its grace cease fighting to control it, we might just see in it the face of God. Our worship has ended and our service begins. May your days and nights be blessed. May you know that you are loved. Go in peace. Blessed be.